I'm going to move into our next thing. We're going to hear from Jeremy. Jeremy's going to take us down this track of give teachers and administrators the ability to track student engagement, because there are some technology solutions out there that are like pretty darn cool. And if you have them, they cause more engagement, which is, part of the thing. You kind of want to make sure you're putting those in there, because if at least it's not boring email all the time, and then it's more fun. So I'm liking what these guys do. So Jeremy, have at it. I'm going to turn my video off, and Samantha, you can turn your off, and we'll put the spotlight right now on Jeremy for now. And I like your background. I like your fireplace. The Texans could have used your fireplace last week and week before.
Well, here in Portland, Oregon, when my power went off for like 3-4 days, definitely it was enjoying having some fireplaces in the house and a camping generator. So we did have that one camping generator. So that was my wife is definitely gave me a pass on having bought a camping generator after we used it for some space heaters for a few days. But our Texas friends definitely were hit pretty hard as well, as a lot of people on this phone call or this Zoom definitely were too. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jeremy Jackson. I'm the Senior Director of Instructional Technology here at Classlink. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the tools that you'd have for teachers and administrators to be able to have some analytics surrounding what's going on as far as their digital ecosystem is concerned, particularly when it comes to remote learning and distance learning that creates some unique challenges. And just looking at this and thinking about this made me think when in the time before, I used to travel and, got to get out and visit a lot of my friends out there around the country. And it was pretty much my day to day. And I got to know some pilots. You'd go and meet them in the airport lounge or whatever and talk to them. And I was always curious about how much the flights were automated. And, when talking to one pilot one day, he goes, once we get up there, our flight computers they'll take us in the air from point A to point B. If there's weather issues, things like that, we always, of course, take over. There's reasons there's two of us. But when it comes to taking off and landing, that's pretty much entirely the pilot that's doing those two things. And so I said, well, all those instruments that you have up there, and he explained to me that when they have bad weather, when they can't see anything, when they have zero visibility, they have to use that data coming from those instruments to be able to take off and land those planes. And sometimes right now in our classrooms and with our students, we don't have that visibility that we're used to. We can't actually see how they're performing. So how can we take that precious cargo? Can we take off and land that plane and do what we need to do as educators, as administrators and teachers to be able to take off and land our plane safely? And so for the students and teachers, we have some tools for the analytics that you need in order to actually make some informed decisions and have more insight and visibility into what's happening during remote and distance learning. So, and just to explain Classlink, for those of you who are not familiar with us, we're a company that makes it easy for students and teachers to be able to access all of the resources that they need through one click. So that can be all of the applications, it could be all of their files as well. So we create an online ecosystem where you can just log in and access all of your resources easily. And because you're accessing everything through one point, we're able to build analytics around that. So we can see where the usage is, how people are logging in, where they're logging in from, where they're spending their time once they're online. So we're able to give this whole snapshot of what's going on in the class level and even on the district level as well. So there's some other tools Classlink has. We're not going to really spend time on them today, but just wanted to let you know that they were there. We found that in order to create that ecosystem, we need to be able to manage usernames and passwords and logins. And there's two components to that. So one is internally. So whether you're using Active Directory or maybe Google or Office 365, you need to have these sort of internal accounts, how you log into your network. And then once you're logged into the network, then you need to be able to reach out and have this single sign-on happening with all of the different vendors that you work with. And so that's the external component. So that's rostering. So once we're rostering out with our vendors, we need those accounts created. We call the internal component is called provisioning. So from a technological standpoint, we can do that as well. And then we find that it's not just teachers and students that need to have logins. We need parents will manage lunch balances. They want to see student grades. There's other unique resources they need. So we have a parent portal for them as well. And then a public portal to share different resources. So today, let's look at how you would log in, access your resources, and then we're going to look at some of the analytics that we can get once we're into that ecosystem. So this is just showing some different ways that you're able to sign into Classlink. So you can use Active Directory, your network authentication. You can use Google. So we find that a lot of districts are using Google today. Or you can do Office 365. I'm going to skip on to the end there. You can see the two-factor authentication, and I'll show that in a moment, but that's adding an extra layer of security. So we know that there's been a lot of districts that have gotten hijacked, and it's been during this particular time, because everybody's been going to remote, a lot of cyber criminals have taken advantage of that. So we want to have an additional layer of security. So you can select an extra image, you can do text message or email to be able to log in. So we'll look at the image option today. And down here, these are some of the unique logins that you'd see. So a quick card is how you could have younger students log in. So K through second, they might still be learning their alphabet. So having you memorize a username and password can be difficult. So being able to have just a QR code that they have on a card, flash it in front of the machine, and that can log them into their device and into the Classlink environment. So they never need to know a username or password. We can even do facial recognition. Typically, we see this used with students who have severe disabilities. They might not have the tactile skills to be able to even manage a quick card. So they're able to still have accessibility into all of their resources. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what Classlink looks like and how that environment can create those logins for us. So the first thing that we're going to do is have our login page. So a little bit of a generic login page here, but I want to highlight some of the different ways that you are able to log in. So we give accounts to everyone in the school district. So all of your administrative staff, your custodians, your bus drivers, everybody has a login to Classlink. Some of them may not be in your SIS. So you just have them from the HR system. So we're pulling from there to create those accounts. So they would need a network login. Your students and teachers could all be on Google accounts. So you could have them sign in with Google. Here's Office 365. I mentioned that quick card earlier, or facial recognition. So that quick card, I think that's really important to know from an equity and access component, what that looks like. Oh, having a little issue, or we'll try to load that one more time. And so here, a student is using a Chromebook and they have not logged in at all. So we can see they're logging into the Chromebook. This could be their iPad or a Windows device as well, but they're signing into their Chromebook. And then they're just taking that QR code I mentioned on their quick card, and they're going to flash that in front of their machine. And that's now going to log them into the machine itself, and then open up the Classlink environment. Now they have all of their different resources in one location. Now, I showed you the first login screen, and that can be completely branded and made unique for any particular district. So this particular district, one of our friends in Alaska is logging in just with their network login as well. And you can see here's a message up here just letting them know their username is the same as their email, and the password is same as their email password. It can be branded however they want. So this isn't even saying Classlink. We can see it's called My Locker for this particular district. And they're just logging in for Google and with those quick cards. So it's just being used by their students and staff. You can have it really straightforward. Here's a real clean login, and they're just using Google for that for one of our Nebraska schools. Here for Portland Public, my home school district. They are logging in with their network, but we can see we also can do password reset for them. So we can do all the password management as far as when, how often you have to redo your password, what the requirements are for that as well. Here we can see the quick card. They changed it because it was some of their students found it was difficult to know that just even that little circle. So they wanted to have a bar for quick card for one of our friends in Colorado. Now, this one wanted to have some additional for Mesa. They wanted to have some additional login help. So if I click on this, you can see they have a whole PDF on how they want to log in and even how to use an Android or Apple iOS device on that as well. And you're able to put any types of graphics that you would want on there. So we have a nice one for Vancouver. And it's important to also note that we do have native apps for the app stores. So for iOS, we even have some particular ones just for the iPad resource for that. And then we have Android devices as well. So it's important to be able to have anywhere, anytime, and any device learning. So let's say you've even handed out Chromebooks and the students are doing digital learning. You're going to have some Chromebooks that break down and you don't want learning to end for that student. With Classlink, they're able to move to their mobile phone and keep learning going and being able to access all their resources. We also have our parent portal here. Again, mentioned parents need to be able to log into. And we have that public portal. Public portal is going to be showing approved applications. A lot of times we'll see districts, you'll have teachers who are using things that, let's say, they don't have privacy or security. They're not meeting policy for ADA compliance. Maybe they just don't have educational value. It's just a game. You're able to control that at the district level and say, you know what, teachers have asked for this resource. We've looked through it. We like it. We're not approving these applications. When we look at that, we're going to say, you know what, Reading Bear here, it is not approved to use for students because it lacks a privacy policy term. So you can actually see on that public portal why you can't use that. And you can look at things under review as well. So here, I'm going to sign into Google. And here's that two-factor authentication. We have hundreds of different images that you can use. So I can select and go, okay, what's my particular image that I want? And if I select the wrong image, it's going to actually say, yep, that is the incorrect image for you to be able to use. So let's do a bad one here. Oh, that's the input is correct. It's going to re-scramble everything, and we have hundreds of images that it chooses for. So I'm going to select my correct image, and it is now taking me into a teacher environment. Now, these are completely catered and customized for each user. And what you're going to see in this component of our Launchpad is something called My Apps. So there's 3 different areas of our Launchpad. The first thing we want to do is access all of our applications. And if it has a key on there, we can see that that is going to be single sign-on. If it has a rocket ship on there, that's going to auto launch. So when I logged in, you may have noticed that a couple of things opened up automatically. So I can see BrainPop has taken and it's already opened up a tab and it's logged me in. So I can see here, this is my back to school course. I was a geography teacher when I was in the classroom. So this would be my geography class. And it's opened up all these tabs that I know that I use every day. And so it'll just open those for me. We also have a lock on there. That lock lets you know that that is something that's been pushed out at the district level. So you don't want people erasing that. So a lot of what you see in this environment is very similar to your device. You know, everybody's addicted to their phone and it knows how to use it. So what is an easier way and more intuitive than create sort of that phone experience? So of course you can customize backgrounds if you let it. You can change your app sizes. You have granular controls on what people can do. But you know, for teachers, you might want to do that. You're able to edit these things. I can add different items as well. So I have an app library. Again, we said this is curated by the district. So I can see here's a library. You can have this for K-12, different types of users. I want to add securely. So all I'd have to do is click on that. We can see it has a key, so it'll even log me in, and there it is. So unlike Schoology, which has that lock on it, I can then right click on that and I can remove that application. Where if I tried to do that with Schoology, that option is gone for me. So as a teacher, we know that they need separate different items. So I have my library resources, but students would see that. And those are notoriously underutilized, by the way. So it's great to be able to have that on everyone's desktop on their Launchpad to be able to see that. But HR links. So as a teacher, I might want to be able to look at my medical or my paycheck. So there are different things that you can say, you know, all of our teachers are going to get as well. And one thing, fun thing, we do little Easter eggs. They just added this yesterday for us. So we can see we have a little watering can that we can use. So this is the My Apps. So there is My Files is where, well, I'm just going to show this really quickly. And this is where you can aggregate all of the different files. So if the teacher has things on a school network and they're also keeping things on a Google Drive or maybe Office 365, they can have all of their files in one location. They can even create different things. So if I want to create a new document or spreadsheet and do that online, digitally. So if I want working on my iPad and I need to create a new spreadsheet, I'm able to do that. So here they can, with one click, access all their files and even create new files. The other component that we want to look, and this is where we start seeing analytics, is on the My Classes tab. So once they've gone into their Launchpad, they can actually access all of their different class resources. So here, I'm going to show mine real quick. And here in My Classes, I can see all of the preps that I'm teaching. And again, this is where we're going to start getting data. So if I go down to my Theory of Knowledge class, another class I taught when I was in the classroom, was TOK. So I can see here is my announcement that I've put out for my students. So I have my little megaphone up here. I can see the different applications. So there may be things that are pushed out at the district level. So everybody is getting Seesaw, who's in this class, was decided by the curriculum. But I wanted to put something about Kant. So I can add things, again, add applications and resources as a teacher. I can have discussion boards. I have all of my different students in here. Now, as a teacher, and let's say a student has forgotten their password, I can actually log in here and change their password. So I can give them a temp password. So I remove that bottleneck for learning for my students. And for my classes as well, I'm going to switch over to a different course, but I can see some analytics here. So in this social studies class, I want to see logins. So Samantha mentioned earlier how attendance has been an issue. So let's say a teacher really wants to do some remediation and they need to see what attendance has looked like. They can actually come in and see all of the attendance when students have logged into this particular class. So, they may do, yeah, I think Samantha was mentioning they're going to have that 20-minute homeroom almost, where all the students log in for attendance. But if a teacher still needs to see who attended a particular course, they can do that with a snapshot. They can even export that. We're able to do this on a district level. We actually have my home district, Portland Public Schools, is doing this for attendance for the entire district, where they can do this. Now, I want to be able to see that data. And again, this is where we're starting to look at our analytics. So this is what we're providing for the teachers. Again, that's because students are going through a single portal. They have a single sign-on for everything. I can see not only when they've logged in, but what resources they're using. So this is an engagement heat map that we're looking at here. So I can see not only that they've logged in, how long they've logged in, and I can even drill further down. So I can see for those 3 hours, what they were doing. Where did they spend their time when they were logged into that class? What applications were they using while they were logged in? So that gives me some additional data. And I even have some things, let's say I just want to see the percentages of students who have logged in. Here, my previous week, I get, again, I know how many unique users or students are enrolled into those classes, and I can see an overview of the percentage of students who have logged in. So if I'm immediately can say, oh, wait, 37% logged into there, what's going on with that particular class? And then I can see where those logins were, so I can drill back down on that. So that gives teachers some analytics, and we're going to take a second and look at the district level analytics. So as an administrator, what do I want to be able to see? So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Again, this would be something just your administrators or certain people would be able to see. You wouldn't want to give access for this for everyone, but I can see I actually have a dashboard. And let's see, this is a large district in Florida. Well, I'm going to switch to a little bit of a smaller district. So let's go ahead and see a district that doesn't have 240,000 students. So we'll be able to focus a little bit better on that. But the district administrators are able to pull all of the data that they need as far as seeing the number of unique users that have logged in. So the logins for the day, month, year. They can look at historical data. They can see what applications are being logged in from the district. So I can go in and say, how are my schools logging in? So here's a heat map where I'd be able to actually see unique users. And we are doing some changes to our demo environment. I appreciate everybody's patience with this, but I'll go ahead and look again. We'll look at our big district here. So we can see the percentages of students that are logging in. And again, this is unique users for this. So we can say, Apopka Elementary here has 904 unique users and 774 have logged in. So from an administrative level, you're able to really go, okay, here's where we're having logins. Maybe anything that's lower than 80%, we want to look into that a little bit more. So we want to say, why did Avalon only have 76% of users log in? So I can click in and I can look at some different data on that. So I can see, my recent logins. I can say, who did or didn't log in. I'm able to actually have different types of logins, the different roles for those people who've logged in. I can see the different applications that they've used once they've logged in as well. On all my apps, I can actually drill down on that usage. So I can see the number of logins over a day, month, over a year. And I'm able to see that for all of my apps. So we can give some additional information on our applications as well. So you can enter in how much this costs. Now, again, this is data-driven decision-making because as an administrator, you have a snapshot of everything that's being used. In the district, you can say, okay, I want to actually see my ROI for instance. So when a program is purchased, I can say, here's the number of licenses. This is what I'm looking at paying for it. Here's how much I've paid on PD. And what type of ROI am I getting from that? So you can look at some of the student performance on that. And I also have a cost tab here. So this gives me an alignment of actual usage for something. So if I look at iReady, I can see I have 140,000 licenses and 123. So a little bit, underutilization, but not too bad on that. But if I look down, here I have something I've paid 67,000 for, 30,000 licenses, and I have one unique user. There's probably a problem going on with that. Maybe I just bought it and I haven't rolled it out yet, but I recognize that there's an issue. We've had it for 6 months and we're there. So when you're doing that data-driven decision making, you might want to say, you know what, we want to use this. We know it has value, but we're going to do a lot of PD on that. Maybe it's been a little bit of an uncomfortable transition. I can look at Lightspeed. I can see who that one user is, and maybe it's one teacher who's using it great. I can have them help me with the PD on it. I can, maybe it's a library resource. Again, we mentioned notoriously underutilized. You don't need really much PD for that, but you need to market it out to the district. Or maybe I go in and say, you know what, I have a certain number of licenses. I'm underutilizing 17,000 licenses for iReady, or here I'm underutilizing, it's about 65,000. And I go to Canvas for my renewal the next year and go, we only need 190,000 licenses. So, otherwise we were off by 50,000 licenses for the district. So you're able to do some data-driven decision making. Of course, there's logs, there's all different types of data in here. We don't have a lot of time, but I'd be more than happy to answer other questions for you. You can customize the data. If I click on here, this gives you an idea of the different types of data. So if I wanted to customize my dashboard, I can again say my login stats and just drag and drop my peak login times. I want to see what applications are being launched and actually create that my own dashboard to use when I log in to my analytics. Now, something exciting we do have that is brand new for Classlink Analytics is something that we call Analytics Plus. And so we're offering this for school-owned devices. So let's say somebody goes through on a web link and they are not in Classlink for one reason or another. And we can do this for iPads, for Chromebooks, for Windows devices. We want to see what they're accessing outside of those websites for that are in Classlink. So Analytics Plus, again, this is tracking all the data. So we don't want this on personal devices because, obviously there's some privacy issues on that. But if you have an acceptable use policy at the district level and you need to be able to have that full overview and you want to see what's going on outside of Classlink, we can provide that for those devices as well. So we're going to be, we just announced it Thursday, and we're going to be going live with that particular tool in July of 2021. So I know we're approaching our time here, but I just wanted to see, well, we have a minute or two left. If we have any questions, anything that we might be able to answer for you on that as well. So have we gotten anything in the chat? I haven't seen anything.
I'm looking in chat now. I don't see any questions in chat, but I just want to say, I think your company has seen more than any company the spike that occurred once the pandemic started, and it's been massive. But there's still maybe, I would say, 45% of districts that aren't using SSO yet.
That is true. So we did have we did go from about 1,000 to 1,800 districts in the U.S. over the past year. So we have been able to really help meet that need and provide some supports to our partner districts. But yeah, there is still a need for a lot of districts out there to be able to have that resource, or districts are doing it in piecemeal. There are some different products that really will cover in limited fashion, but they'll only provide single sign-on for half the applications. I think it's really important, and one of our philosophies is to be able to partner with other vendors and districts and make sure that we're able to provide that access for all vendors, and do it for free for districts as far as adding new vendors for us as well. So
Okay, great. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for a great presentation. It was good to know all of that stuff.